You need on-the-go convenience. Novex Smart Hub delivers. Pay your electric bills, view your energy use, report an outage, and receive alerts regarding your account. With Smart Hub, use your credit card with no processing fees. Level out your monthly electric bills by enrolling in budget billing through Smart Hub. Easily access it through Novex mobile app or at novec.com. You're on the go. Novex Smart Hub goes with you.
Brian Green joins us. He is the baseball coach at Wichita State. Brian, welcome. How are you?
Guys, how are you? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
You bet. We had you on previously shortly after you were hired and didn't have much of a roster at that time, didn't have your assistant coaches solidified. All that is pretty much done now. So how did that process go? Tell us about the roster for the Shockers. How do you like it?
Well, we're excited. It was one heck of a summer over about a 7-week period, putting the staff together, and so proud of our coaching staff. But the roster, with the amount of guys that we had in the portal, 10 players remained, and we recruited over 30 players, just about half and half. There are 17 high school players coming in, and I believe it's 13 junior college players coming in to get us around that 40 mark. But really, really excited and proud of the coaching staff. We were able to really get into that Kansas Junior College League with a lot of transfers coming from, well, you name it, guys. It was really just we've got one or two coming from each team, and we were able to do a nice job there. And really excited about our high school talent coming in as well. So we've got a chance to be a little young on the mound in terms of our big boys coming in. There are 3 high school pitchers who have thrown a ball 97 miles an hour. That's exciting. There is a high number of left-handed arms coming in, both junior college and high school. A lot of junior college talent in the outfield and the corners, very offensive players. And then we're excited about a couple of high school kids that can play shortstop. So brand new team, and we'll have our first team meeting on the 20th. Go with culture training for a full week, and then we'll start individual skill instruction on the 28th. So it has been a whirlwind, that's for sure, but I'm really proud of our coaching staff.
Well, you said something there that interested me. What is culture training? How does that look, and what does that entail for this team?
Yeah, it's something that I believe in and is a part of our routine and our system over the last 2 schools, but has grown and evolved over the course of the last couple of programs. And clearly with 30-plus new players coming in and 10 returning guys and new coaching staff, we just felt, and I feel like it's extremely critical that this first fall we do as much team building, team bonding, core values, core characteristics training as we possibly can. And so the culture training piece, there'll be some activities that we'll have for the kids. They'll have an introduction event where we ask them to do 5 or 6 things in terms of how they set up on stage. And so there's a preparation piece, and we want to evaluate if they're going to come prepared and introduce themselves the right way. They'll meet their professors on campus the first couple of days. The only baseball we'll do in week 1 will be our throwing program with all of the specific individual groups. So the catchers, infielders, outfielders, and pitchers, they'll know their throwing program and the essential drills that we'll want to do so they can do those on their own. On Friday and Saturday of the opening week, we'll have a group come in called Team Elite. It's a group that comes in and we kind of go bonkers and make a commitment oath to ourselves in the program about what it means to be a Shocker. You might see some coaches ripping their shirts off on social media. And then we'll definitely work to have the team over for a barbecue, do some swimming and some fishing, and really try to utilize week 1 to come together as much as we can in a week's time before we get onto the field and feel comfortable with each other and feel like we know particularly what we want to do from a culture and standard perspective. So we'll spend the whole week doing that, and there'll be a lot of meetings. But hopefully at the end of it, we'll be a lot closer than you normally are when you just start your group work and you end up the outfielder doesn't know the left-handed pitcher until November. So trying to get a much better beat on that.
Brian Green, our guest, Wichita State's baseball coach. We'll get back to the Shockers because that's what we're most interested in. But you spent some time at Washington State, your school, before you came to Wichita State. We see the upheaval going on all around college athletics, especially out in the Pac-12, where now only 4 schools remain from that group: Washington State, Oregon State, Stanford, and Cal. What's your emotional reaction to all of that, Brian?
Well, that's a great question. I was devastated, to be quite honest. You know, I have so much respect for Pat, the athletic director, and Kirk Schultz, and forever grateful my family is for going to be a Western Athletic Conference coach to moving into the Pac-12, and forever grateful for that. But when those things happened, as I was here at Wichita State, I just couldn't believe it. I was devastated. You know, Pullman's a really small college town, and starting with football primary, that's a big deal for that city and that town. And but I also have a lot of faith in Pat and Kirk that they'll either be, who knows, are we going to be playing them in our conference in a couple of years? Are they going to be in the Mountain West, or will they form their own thing? But emotionally, that was I really felt for Washington State in the short term. But as we've gone through this and time has passed, I know that they'll end up in the right spot. They've got great leadership there. Emotionally as well, you know, when it went down, I just thought how fortunate I was to be at Wichita State, and it was a strange time when that went down. To know that I was just there a couple weeks ago, and to be now at Wichita State was it was a strange emotional time to just go, wow, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about the potential, at least, of being conference mates with Washington State, as strange as that may seem, but you touched on that. So, Jeff, what's your question?
Just going to ask you about the pitching. You mentioned bringing in, obviously, a lot of young pitching, maybe even with some velocity there. How will you and Anthony Claggett, your pitching coach, go about kind of evaluating the pitching? And you'll obviously have some time in the fall to see who's getting outs. But what do you look for most when you're putting together a weekend rotation?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pitchability, number one. You know, there are a lot of pitchers out there and across America who can throw the ball and get it going pretty good. But strikes, pitchability, the ability to go to both sides. The changeup is critical. You got to have one of those. That'll enable you to be in the game, and you can throw it same side. You'll have some talent there, or the opportunity to be able to do something. But to answer your question, when we put it together, the kids know that come September 22nd, when we begin team, we'll scrimmage 5 days a week. The opportunities will be equal for everybody. We won't slot anybody as a potential starter. We certainly have some ideas about guys who might start. We love left-handed starters. We love left-handed pitchers with changeups. But it's an interesting group, guys. It'll be fun to watch in the fall. Given the amount of arms that we had, or just players that we had in the portal, we did have an opportunity to go out and really shape a roster in a sense, you know, with only 10 returning players. So with a little bit of that freedom, we really went out and targeted just different looks, you know, high slots, 3/4 slots, side slots. There's even a sub slot, but you'll see with us 2 or 3 left-handers who have an opportunity to have 20 to 30 appearances if they do what we think they can do, as their slot is very deceptive left on left, and recruited the same thing right on right with some sub guys and some guys that are on the side. For us, that we hope that will enable us to have the depth and to not be at the mercy of the matchup, which a lot of times, if you lack depth on the mound, week to week, it just depends what's in your corner and what you're facing. So we like our left-handed pitching for sure. We like our potential bullpen, but we're old. We're old enough. Of the 14 JC transfers, 8 of those or 7 of those are pitchers, to couple with those big arms like the Tommy Lapours and the Garrity's and the Brady Hamiltons of the world that are coming in at the high school level.
Talking with Brian Green, Wichita State's brand new baseball coach. So when you take over this program and you're the head guy, do you put your stamp on it in any way, or have you done anything to kind of indicate that? Are we going to see a new uniform design? Anything that would indicate that this is the beginning of the Brian Green era at Wichita State?
That's a great question, and from a timing perspective, is fascinating. We met yesterday with Kyle, our equipment manager here for Under Armour, and one of the things that I told Kyle was the last thing that I want to do is do anything other than the tradition of this program. So I think the stamp that I'm going to put on it is the stamp that I think has always been there. And what we were talking about was how do we bring back some of the things from the older era, what logos and what things can we bring back into our uniforms in the future. But no, I'm going to be as old school as possible. I'm going to be as whatever has happened in Wichita is going to remain. I can tell you that my stamp, I like to see our kids, and our kids will wear the uniform the same. So if the pants are up one day, everybody will be up. And if the pants are down one day, then everybody will be down, and we'll be a team. But no new uniforms coming. I just want to see as much woo-shock, baseball woo-shock as humanly possible on hats and shirts. I love that logo.
Well, have you picked your number yet?
I haven't. I've always been number 2. I haven't picked it yet. I haven't. Uniforms, guys. I mean, we literally, pretty fascinating, but we got to our last recruit is probably a week ago, and it was like, man, we got to the finish line, and now we're into getting the facility airtight and seeing it as clean as humanly possible, so our kids live in a level of respect and understand that the details are very important. And that's another thing that we'll do in culture training. We'll have a couple of days where the kids are lining up screens and pulling weeds and maybe doing some painting, and so they'll recognize those things that they always need to be perfect around here, because it's a pretty special facility.
So when Bob was starting to bring up Washington State a minute ago, I thought he was going to ask about Kyle Manzardo, recently traded to my Cleveland Guardians. How much will I enjoy watching that guy hit for the next 6 years or so?
You will love him. He is balanced. It's 1-to-1 ratio. He can hit left on left. He's really improved at the ball and being tight with power, but he's a special hitter, and it was fun to watch Manzo over our time together, because he continued to develop strength. He continued to develop rhythm, and he is coming from a coach. His dad's a coach. It's a baseball family. He is a smart baseball rat. Ball guy, which you guys are. You will love Manzo.
Sweet.
He will be in the big leagues for a while. He's good.
I will say this, Brian. Your entire reputation with my son now rests on that coming true. So,
okay.
I think we're safe.
Manzo's getting the text. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming on with us. We enjoyed talking with you, and we'll get you on again soon, okay?
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks very much. Go Shock.